And let's go ahead and get started in child's pose. You can start kneeling at the back of your mat with your knees wide. And today I'll suggest that you let your arms go out long in front of you. With this pose and every other pose throughout the class, if I suggest something that doesn't work well for you today, feel free to change it up or to ask for another suggestion. This practice is really all about learning to craft your own practice, learning what works for you, what doesn't, and learning how to listen in to your own needs and wants. As you're ready, start to notice your breath. And imagine that any place your breath touches softens a bit. In the space around your ribs, along your spine. Begin to give a little bit less effort there so that joints and muscles and flesh can start to open up and release. As you're ready, start to slow down your breath. You might even add in ujjayi, gentle whispers on the inhales and exhales. And we'll stay here for just a few rounds of breath. Check in with the muscles of your face. And see if you can let any tension from your day that you're holding in your face, let it go. On your next inhale, reach your fingertips far forward, lengthen out from the hip creases and alongside body. And then walk your hands over to the right. We'll create a side body stretch. Gently grip through your left fingers and let your left hip become heavy. And breathe into those lengthened ribs. One more breath in. Come on back to center. Once more, reach your fingertips far forward. And exhale, walk hands over to the left. Gently grip through the right fingers and let the right hip become heavy without pressing. And breathe into right ribs. One more breath in. And back to center. Last time, reach your fingertips far forward, seal them down, and come right up to downward facing dog. See if you can keep this length of hands and feet. So the same length that they were in child's pose, they are in down dog. We'll take about 5 breaths. If you like to find stillness here, you can do that. If you like some intuitive movement, you can do that. Keep the muscles of your face soft. And then start to settle into stillness if you were moving. And we'll refine the down dog a little bit. Press down through your hands, wrap your triceps back. And then press through your arms. Let the pressing come from the upper back, from the shoulder blades. Slide the shoulder blades open. And then tilt your sit bones up towards the ceiling. One more breath in. Tabletop pose, knees down to the mat, hands step back under your shoulders. Inhale, left arm spins high. Exhale, thread the needle. We'll take 3, so this is the first one. Inhale, left arm reaches high. Exhale, thread the needle. Once more, sweep your arm high. And exhale to thread left shoulder and cheek to the mat. Right hand can stay where it is, or you can reach it forward past your ear. Gentle grip through the right fingers. Left arm presses into the ground and navel hugs in. One more breath in. Right hand under right shoulder and come on back to tabletop pose. A different shoulder stretch this time. Left arm steps forward to the top of the mat and right hand slides back so it's about in line with your belly button. And then sink your heart down towards the ground. For some, it will just be a little, some it might be all the way down to the ground. Grip through your left fingers and draw your left hip back in space. Opening up left side body. Breathe in. Lift your chest, flip your left palm up towards the ceiling, and then sink your heart down once more. Left hip draws back. Last breath in. Left palm to the ground and come on back to tabletop pose. Second side. Inhale, right arm spins high. Exhale, thread the needle. First of 3. Inhale, arm up. Exhale, thread, squeeze navel in. Last time, sweep your arm high. And exhale, thread to stay. Right shoulder and cheek to the mat. Left hand can stay where it is, or you can reach past your ear and gently grip left fingers into the ground. Right arm presses into the ground, navel squeezes in. No tension in the neck. Last breath in. Left hand under left shoulder and come on back to tabletop pose. Find your cow pose slowly on this first one. Breathe in slowly. And cat pose, round your spine and tuck your chin. Inhale to cow, open your heart. Exhale to cat, open your shoulder blades wide. Take a few more rounds on your own at your own pace. You might add in any intuitive movement, hip side to side or neck rolls, or child's pose if you're craving it. And then eventually, through a neutral spine, make your way back to downward facing dog. Sometimes in yoga classes, we get this sense of hurry, of thinking that we need to keep up with the instructor's voice, but it's really not true at all. You can move faster or slower. It's more important to move at your own pace. On your next breath in, lift up high onto your toes. And exhale to walk both feet forward. We'll take a ragdoll at the top. Feet wide, hands tuck into opposite elbows, knees soft. Maybe a sway side to side. Last piece of our integration before we get into some salutations. One more breath in. Release your hands down and heel toe your feet closer together. Hands to shins, halfway lift. Forward fold, breathe out. Inhale, sweep your hands up overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center. Reach your hands high, glance up. Forward fold, hinge from hips. Half lift, breathe in. High plank pose, breathe out. Plant your hands and step back. Press down through your arms and open your shoulder blades wide as you hug your bottom ribs in. Very slowly shift forward, shoulders over knuckles, and then elbows bend straight back to lower to the ground. We'll take 3 rounds of back bends. Inhale to lift your heart, baby cobra. Exhale, release down. Inhale, heart lifts, thighs squeeze together. Exhale, release down. And last one, cobra or baby cobra. Triceps wrap back as belly button squeezes in. And then press back to downward facing dog, maybe through child's pose. Stay for a breath in. And breath out. Lift your right leg behind you. Press through your heel. Keep the hips squared today. Take a breath in. And exhale, step through, back knee down to the mat. Hands sweep up, Anjaneyasana. Squeeze inner thighs together and lift your frontal hip points up. Another way to say that is to lengthen your tailbone down. Soften your face as you look forward. One more breath in. Hands down, step to the front of your mat. Breath out. Half lift, breathe in. Fold forward, breathe out. Inhale, stand tall, reach up. Exhale, hands to heart and down by your sides. Inhale, hands sweep up. Exhale, fold forward. Half lift, breathe in. Hands plant, right leg steps back, knee down to the mat. And sweep your hands up, Anjaneyasana, second side. Inner thighs squeeze in, tailbone down. Shoulder blades relaxing. And notice what you can see out in front of you. And breath in. Downward facing dog. Plant your hands and step back. Stay for one round of breath. Left leg lifts high behind you, press through your heel. Inhale here. Step through, exhale, back knee down, or you can keep it up this round. Inhale, hands sweep high. Exhale, forward fold at the top of your mat. Halfway lift, shoulder blades draw down your back. Forward fold, breathe out. Hands overhead, Urdhva Hastasana. Hands to heart, exhale. Reach hands out and up, breath in. Forward fold, Uttanasana. Half lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Left leg steps back, knee up or down. One inhale, sweep your hands high. And exhale to downward facing dog. And breathe in. And breathe out. Wrap triceps down to the ground, heavy your heels. Inhale, lift up high to toes. Bend your knees, look forward, step or hop. Half lift, navel in. Fold forward, breathe out. Arms overhead, inhale. And then just forward fold, exhale without rounding. Half lift, breathe in. High plank pose, breathe out. Shift forward, inhale. Lower down, elbows bend straight back. Cobra or up dog, lift your heart. Downward facing dog, hips up and back. Stay for one round of breath, and we'll flow a few rounds of sun salutation A. Inhale, lift high to toes. Bend your knees, look forward, step or hop. Half lift, breath in. Fold forward, breath out. Hands sweep high, inhale. Hands to heart, exhale. Reach hands up, tailbone down. Fold forward, exhale. Half lift, breathe in. High to low, or you can skip it and go straight to down dog. Up dog or cobra if you lower down. And downward facing dog. Stay for a slow round of breath. And two more rounds together. Inhale to lift. Look forward, step or hop. Halfway, inhale. Fold, exhale. Urdhva Hastasana, reach up. Uttanasana, forward fold. Ardha Uttanasana, half lift. Vinyasa of your choice, high to low, cat-cow, or straight to down dog. Breathe in. And breathe out. Last one, inhale to toes. Look forward and travel forward. Long spine, lengthen through your lungs. Forward fold, exhale. Hands overhead, relax shoulders, and fold forward, bow down. Halfway lift, breathe in. Vinyasa or downward facing dog. Back bend of your choice. And we all meet in the same place. All right, let's shorten our dog. Step your right foot forward, at least half of the distance, and then left leg presses back behind you for a standing split variation. Here, we're looking for shoulders to be over wrists, so if they're not stacked, go ahead and bring your wrists back slightly. Press your left heel back and keep hips squared. If you'd like a little bit more sensation, you can float your right heel up off the mat or even take a couple of hops up, hopping off of the right foot. We'll take about 3 breaths here. No matter what, whether you're hopping or not, keep pressing through the elbows. They stay straight, shoulder blades open wide. And then let's set left foot next to right. And we'll switch sides. Right leg back behind you. Press through your arms, straighten your elbows, open shoulder blades wide. You might float the left heel up off the mat or take a couple of hops. If you're taking hops, know that the bottom leg is doing the work of catching and throwing, not the top leg. Nice. And then both feet down. Lengthen back out to downward facing dog. And a choice. Stay in child's pose, stay in down dog. Take child's pose or forearm plank. Child's pose, down dog, or forearm plank. Last piece of our warm-up. A moment to consciously choose your own direction. And now only if you are in plank, I recommend a Sphinx pose, forearm down, heart lifting for a breath or two. And we all make our way to downward facing dog. And let's start to add some more pieces into the practice. Inhale, right leg lifts high behind you, press through your heel. Exhale, knee to nose, shift forward and look forward. Inhale, lengthen leg behind you. And exhale, step through, back knee stays lifted in low lunge. You can always place props under your hands here. Squeeze your inner thighs towards each other and see if you can become light on your hands. Legs do most of the work. Left thigh presses up towards the ceiling. Cow lunge, hips low, maybe back knee on the mat, and heart tilts forward. Breath in. Cat lunge, lift your hips high, straighten both your legs and round down over your front leg. Inhale, cow lunge, hips low, look forward. Exhale, cat, hips high, straighten your legs. Once more, cow lunge, breathe in. And cat lunge, breathe out. Bend your front knee, look forward. High crescent lunge, reach both hands up. Inner thighs hug in towards each other. And then let's bring hands down onto the iliac crest on the top of the hips. Where your front fingers are, we're going to find what we call the frontal hip points, kind of the front round of the hip. Imagine drawing that in and up towards your belly button. Again, another way to say is to lengthen your tailbone. And then sweep hands back up again. One breath in. Warrior two, back heel down and right arm forward. Lengthen the inseam of your front thigh forward. Press down through the back heel. Shoulder blades, find a little bit of space between them. Straighten your front leg. Left hand to left hip for triangle pose. Right hip tucks back and right arm tilts down. You can place it on your shin, on a block, or on the ground. Left arm reaches up. Press down a bit through both heels. Lift your frontal hip points towards your navel. And then extended triangle, left arm reaches forward past your ear. Allow your left shoulder blade to slide up and towards your ear. Full left body length. Little bend in your front knee, look down. Standing splits at the top, hands frame your front foot. Left heel leads behind you. If you'd like, you can take one hop up. The right knee bends to catch and throw. And then we forward fold at the top. Half lift, lengthen your lungs. Vinyasa or downward facing dog. Breathe out. Breath in. And breath out. Second side, left leg lifts behind you. Knee to nose, shift forward and look forward. Inhale, lengthen leg behind you. Exhale, step through, low lunge with back knee lifted. Inner thighs hug in towards each other. And try to become lighter on your hands by shifting the weight into your feet. The left hip draws back, right thigh presses up. Cow lunge, hips low, maybe the knee down, that's your choice. Heart forward. Breath in. Cat lunge, hips high, legs straighten and round down. Inhale, cow lunge, tilt your heart forward. Exhale, cat lunge, lift and round. One more. Cow, breathe in. And cat, breathe out. Bend your front knee. Press through your feet and reach up, high crescent lunge. Right side towards the ceiling. Hands to hips once more, lift the frontal hip points up, squeeze the navel in. Inhale, hand sweep up. Exhale, warrior two, back heel down. Left arm forward. Imagine the space between the shoulder blades opening by just a millimeter. Left thigh lengthens forward. Right heel presses down. Front leg straightens, right hand to right hip. For triangle, tuck your left hip behind your right and hinge down. Maybe right hand reaches up. Frontal hip points scoop up towards the belly button, even here as you press through both heels. Extended triangle, right arm reaches forward with palm down. Let your right shoulder blade slide towards your ear. One more breath. Look down, bend your front knee, standing splits. Right heel presses back behind you. Stay or take one hop up, breath in. And forward fold, breath out. Half lift, lengthen your lungs. Vinyasa or downward facing dog. Breathe in. And breathe out. We'll land for just a moment, and then we'll take our flow through the sequence. Press down more through the arms, shoulder blades slide up the back and open. Inhale, right leg lifts high. Bend your knee, peel your hip open. Inhale, lengthen leg behind you. Exhale, knee to right shoulder, shift forward. Inhale, lengthen leg behind you. And exhale, step through, low lunge. Cow lunge, sink your hips, lift your heart. Cat lunge, lift your hips, round your spine. High crescent lunge, bend front knee, reach up. Warrior two, breathe out. Straighten your front leg, inhale. Triangle pose, exhale. Left arm reaches forward, extended triangle. Standing splits, hands down, left leg presses back. Stay or take one hop, inhale. Fold forward, exhale. Half lift, breathe in. Vinyasa or downward facing dog. Breathe out. Up dog or cobra for inhale. And downward facing dog. Exhale. Left leg lifts high. Bend your knee, peel your hip open. Inhale, lengthen your leg behind you. Exhale, knee to left shoulder. Inhale, lengthen leg behind you. Exhale, step through low lunge. Cow lunge, breathe in. Cat lunge, breathe out. High crescent lunge, bend front knee and reach up. Warrior two, breathe out. Straighten front leg, inhale. Triangle pose, exhale. Extended triangle, right arm wraps forward. Standing splits, hands down, right foot presses high. One hop up or stay, breath in. Fold forward, breath out. Half lift, long lungs. Vinyasa or down dog, last one for a while. Breathe it in and breathe out. All right, setting up for a high plank pose. Come on forward into your high plank. You're welcome to bring left knee down to the mat. And we'll reach right side high. Navel in, roll your belly button up to the sky. If that top shoulder is feeling a little closed off, maybe you draw a couple of circles or stretch it out. Kind of exploring the space that you have today. High plank or tabletop, come back to center, and we'll switch sides. Maybe right knee down, left arm high. Maybe a couple of arm circles, second side. High plank or tabletop is breath in. And let's press back to child's pose, or you can take a comfy seat for a breath out. Come back to that sense of softening that we found more than half an hour ago at the beginning of class. Do less in your shoulders, less in your belly, less in your face and neck. And you're welcome to stay here as long as you'd like if you're enjoying this moment. If you're eager for more movement, reach your hands forward and come on back to downward facing dog. Many of you have taken my class many times, so you've done this a bunch of times, but we're gonna break it down today. So press down through your hands, wrap your triceps down, and know that we're going to be keeping our arms straight here. Lift your heels up off the mat. We're setting up for baby steps forward, but before we do that, tilt your sit bones up towards the ceiling. Press more through your arms, keep elbows straight, and then go ahead and take at least 6 tiny steps up to the top of the mat. It might be more. Elbows don't need to be locked. They shouldn't be locked, but don't let them bend either. And eventually at the top, it is Padangusthasana, Yogi Toe Lock. Feet wide, first 2 fingers and thumbs wrap around big toes. Muscles of the neck relax as much as possible. Press through the outer edges of your feet into the ground, and then firm the thighs out to the sides. Navel hugs in and up. Return to your breath. Release your toes. And heel toe your feet closer together. I'm going to do a quick demo here. So if you'd like to sit back on your heels or kneel for a second, you can do that. We're working towards a couple of toe taps. So if you have blocks or books, this would be a good place to add them in. We'll set up in a supported halfway lift. Make sure you can see me. And then arms are going to stay straight. If you don't have as many props as you need to get your hands flat, you can bend your knees, but keep the elbow straight. We'll shift the weight, let's say into the left foot, and then like an elevator, sliding the right hip up. So for some, the leg will be straight, some will be bent, but the movement comes from the hip joint. Lift the hip, and then take the toes forward, tap the wrist, and set it back down. So we'll do a few of those on each side. All right, so go ahead, if you have props, you can set those up. They would be directly under your shoulders. If not, hands flat with the knees bent as much as you need to make that happen. And if you have questions, feel free to ask. Let's shift weight into the right foot. Draw the left hip directly up towards the ceiling. And then send your toes forward, tap your wrist or your blocks, or however far forward it goes, and set it down. Shift weight into left foot, right hip slides up, toes forward, and set it down. And then go ahead and explore that on your own a bit. Again, arms stay long without bending, shoulder blades opening, ribs hugging in. Maybe 1 or 2 more rounds of taps. And then release, set your pops aside. Bend your knees a lot, find a halfway lift, more than you would ever bend your knees for this. And then come on up to standing. For Tadasana, low mountain pose, palms face forward. You can soften or close your eyes. Let your feet soften into the ground. Notice the pace of your breath. And then eyes blink open. We'll keep it simple. Tree pose. Let's stand on the left leg first. Right knee turns out to the side. Heel to ankle, calf, or thigh. Half lotus is also available. And hands to heart center. Press equally into both feet. And a little bit of that lifting of the front hip points up. Nice. Option to reach your hands high, let them float up out of view. Try on the difference. For a moment, let your shoulder blades relax. And then slide them up towards your ears without squeezing the muscles of your neck. Let them relax down your back. And relax. Second side. We'll stand on right leg. Left knee turns out to the side. And choose your version of tree. Frontal hip points lift up. Maybe hands reach up. Start with shoulder blades, relax down. And then without tensing your shoulders, elevate the shoulder blades up, slide them up. Notice how you can do that without scrunching up your neck. One more breath. Shoulders down and relax. And shake out your arms and your legs. And we'll step up to the top of the mat. Toes point slightly out to the sides. Inhale, sweep your hands up. Little back bend, squeeze your glutes, lift your sternum. Inhale, lift your hands up. Buddha squat or crow. We'll take 5 breaths. If you're in squat, back body, front body, both lengthening. If you're in crow, press down more through your hands. Squeeze navel in. Stay for 3 more breaths wherever you are. And count those breaths for yourself. The third exhale will be your cue to transition back to downward facing dog. And if you're working with long, slow breaths today, give yourself permission to take all of the time you need. No reason to rush. Just a few more moments of standing poses. Inhale, right leg lifts high. Exhale, step through, back heel down. Warrior one. Press through both heels, frontal hip points lift up. You can choose where your shoulder blades are, lifting, elevating, or relaxing down. Breathe in. Warrior two. Side angle. Right arm to right thigh or down to the mat, and left arm reaches up. Press through back heel. Left hand to left hip, look out in front of your right foot. We're going to reach the right hand out there, setting up for balancing half moon. You can place a block under your hand or books. I like to shorten the stance with the left foot and then press up. Press through left heel. Maybe left arm reaches towards the ceiling. Little bend in the front knee, and with control, come on back to warrior two. Reverse your warrior. First one of the practice, reach up through right fingers. Big breath in. Last one, standing split, hands circle down to frame the front foot and the back heel presses up and back, square hips. Press through both heels. If you like the hops, you can add in one or two. And then little bend in the front knee, left leg reaches back. We're coming into lizard pose, hands inside of right foot. Any variation. Any sensations of pain or strain are signs to back up a little bit to add support. Let's make our way back to low lunge. Hands frame the front foot and back knee lifts. Cat lunge. Last time, lift your hips. And this time, press through your arms. Super strong hands to lift the right leg up and back to three-leg down dog. Bend your knee, peel your hip open. You can stay right there or you can flip dog and come over the top. No pain or strain in the elbows or shoulders. One more inhale. Downward facing dog. Last side, left leg lifts high. Step through, back heel down. Warrior one. Front hip points up. Shoulder blades are your choice. Press through the back heel, take a breath in. Warrior two. Side angle, left arm low, right arm high. Lengthen out both sides of your ribs, both sides of your neck. And be sure not to dump weight into the bottom shoulder. Lengthen up out of it. Bring right hand to right hip. I like to shorten this stance. Right foot steps forward first, and then left hand reaches out in front of left foot for a balancing half moon. Here too, we press through both heels. Frontal hip points lift. A little bend in the front knee. And take your time to step back. Warrior two. Reverse your warrior. Left rib opening. Breath in. Standing split. Hands circle down. Press through your right heel. Last hops if you want them. And then bend through your front knee. Carefully reach the right leg back for lizard pose, your variation. Head back to low lunge. Frame your front foot, lift your back knee. Cat lunge, lift your hips, round your spine, press through your hands so much you can free the left leg back behind you. Bend your knee, peel your hip open. You can stay here or flip your dog. Just about 3 breaths here. 2. Last inhale. Downward facing dog. Lift your right leg behind you. Right knee to right wrist for half pigeon, or you can turn onto your back for reclined pigeon. And if you're not too familiar with pigeon pose, I recommend reclined pigeon. On your back, left foot flat on the mat, right ankle crossing over left thigh for figure 4. Maybe you hug left leg into chest and wrap your arms around. Pigeon pose should never feel extreme, especially in knee and hips joints. So if it does, that's a cue to back off a bit or to add some props. We'll take a moment on each side. One more round of breath here. And then half pigeon comes up to long arms. You can flip your back toe, press down through your knee, and press back to child's pose or down dog. If you're on your back, you can unwind, maybe windshield wiper your knees. And then second side. Left knee to left wrist or left ankle over right thigh. Side 1 and side 2 have completely different life stories, so chances are they're not going to feel exactly the same. Allow yourself to make adjustments for each side that may be different. One more round of breath. And come up to long arms, flip back toes. Make your way towards a neutral pose, whether that's child's pose or dog. If you're on your back, you can hug your knees in or take a full body stretch. And then we'll all meet in a seat with legs out long in front. If you find yourself leaning back when you sit on the ground, go ahead and place something underneath of your sit bones, a blanket or a pillow. That's going to give you more space in hamstrings and low back. Press your heels forward, float your hands high, and then just hinge from the hips. Hands down to the mat or toes. Let's keep spine long at first. Draw your shoulder blades back and belly button in. And then if rounding forward feels really nice in your practice, feel free to take that option, but do it with length, with the back body lengthening, with navel hugging in, and breathing into the back of your lungs. Next inhale, slowly look forward. Find your halfway lift again, that long spine. And then up to tall seat. Left leg out long to the left side, right knee points out to the right. Look over at your left toes. Inhale, sweep hands high. And same thing, hinge from the hips first. We'll keep spine long to start. Shoulder blades draw back, navel in. You might stay here today, or if the rounding is really beneficial to you, maybe you add it in by lengthening out over your leg. There's nothing wrong with rounding or not rounding, but we tend to have a habit of rounding in the spine without realizing it. So the more intentional we are about it, the safer it tends to be. Slowly lengthen front body, find halfway lift. And up to tall seat. And we switch sides, right leg out long, left knee bends to left side. Look at right toes. Inhale, sweep hands up. Hinge first from the hips, shoulder blades back, navel in. Maybe you keep squeezing your belly button in to roll down over your leg. Hands land wherever they do. Halfway lift and tall seat. Last one. You can take Baddha Konasana, butterfly legs, or Upavishta Konasana, legs wide. If legs are wide, press out through your heels. If legs are together, press your heels into each other. And last time for this, lengthen up through your spine and hinge from your hips. It might just be a little bit. Shoulder blades back. And then if you'd like, you can either hinge more or round down. No pain or strain. Still nice slow breaths. Next inhale is a halfway lift and up to tall seat. Bring your legs back together, give them a little shake. And then slowly make your way onto your back. Bridges and wheels, feet flat. Bridges today are a counter pose. We did a lot of forward folding and a lot of pressing through the upper body today. So your back bends might not feel as robust as usual, and that's completely normal. Squeeze navel into the ground and roll your spine up from tailbone upward. Think one vertebra at a time. Press the hip creases towards the ceiling, press down through your heels. Shoulder blades slide down towards your hips. And breathe in. And a slow roll down from top to bottom, with tailbone touching down last. We'll do 2 more rounds. Bridge, supported bridge or wheel, squeeze navel down, and come on up with control. Maybe you clasp your hands under your low back. Squeeze your glutes together. Breath in. And slow, controlled roll down. The exit is just as important as the pose itself. And last one, if you want it, bridge, supported bridge, or wheel. Set yourself up and use an inhale to rise. Shoulder blades towards hips, glutes engaged. Last inhale, and controlled release down. Windshield wiper your knees side to side. And choose either Supta Baddha Konasana, butterfly legs, or the opposite, knees together and feet wide. Arms rest where they're comfortable. Do less work. Soften your face. And just notice your breath. You're welcome to stay here if you'd like. Otherwise, hands to outsides of thighs, guide them back together, and knees into your chest. Very slowly hug them in. Listen to your low back. If you're craving a deep compression, you can tuck your chin and reach for your feet or ankles for Apanasana. If that's too extreme, you can skip it after our back bends. And let's set up for our final inversion. A couple of options today. Most will probably prefer either waterfall, legs straight up into the air, supported bridge, or a shoulder stand. If you were enjoying the kicking up today, option for handstand at the wall, if you have a wall available, I can demo here if you're interested in that option. We'll set up about 8 inches from the wall, hands pressing down, triceps wrap back, and shoulder blades open wide. Without ever bending the elbows, you take one leg back behind you and try on a couple of kick-ups. We bend the bottom leg to throw the top leg up. And maybe eventually rest heels against the wall. Last piece is to lift frontal hip points to tuck the tailbone and breathe. Wherever you are, we'll stay for about 45-ish more seconds. Not really counting, just a moment to play, to breathe. And if you have any questions about inversions, always feel free to ask now or after class. You could take a few more breaths here. And as you're ready, start to make your way down. If you are in headstand, handstand, I recommend a moment in child's pose. And eventually we'll meet on our backs. One more time for some final stretches. Start with the knees pointing up and both feet flat. Lift your hips, take them over to the right side, and roll both legs down to the left for a simple twist. Right arm opens wide. Glance over to the right. For more, you can press your hand into the top thigh and imagine lengthening the thigh bone away from the hip socket. And then right fingertips, imagine them lengthening out of the right shoulder joint. Ribs and hip on the right side, find space between them for organs. Easy breath in and back to center. Bring hips and feet back to the center, but then step your right foot out wide to the right side of the mat and roll both knees down to the left for fallen pigeon. To deepen, you can cross left ankle over right thigh. So it's a more subtle twist, more of a side hip opener. You can imagine right fingertips lengthening out of right shoulder joint, right knee lengthening out of right hip, and space between right ribs and right hip. Carefully unwind and come on back. Second side. Lift your hips, take them to the left, and roll both knees down to the right. Left arm opens wide. If you're looking for a bit more sensation, right hand presses into top thigh, and imagine lengthening thigh bone out of the hip socket. Left fingertips, imagine them lengthening out of your left shoulder. And invite space on the left side body between ribs and hip. Notice breath. And carefully unwind back to center. Hips and feet right in the middle. Step your left foot wide and roll both knees down to the right. Maybe right ankle over left thigh to deepen. And same ideas, left knee away from hip, left fingers away from shoulder. Space between the downward facing arch of the ribs and the upward facing arch of the hip bone. Last breath in. Unhook and come on back to center. Windshield wiper knee side to side. And take either happy baby's pose, or if you're craving something different, you can take that instead. It might be another butterfly legs, or it might be something completely different. If you are in happy baby, you can find any intuitive movements. And there's plenty of time, so if there's anything else that you're craving, please do add it in before you head to your Shavasana. If you're ready for Shavasana, you can head there now. When you land in Shavasana, allow your eyes to soften or close. Release your breath back to its organic pattern. And give yourself permission to simply rest, to do nothing at all. We'll take 7 minutes for our Shavasana today. Final resting meditation. Shavasana. Just notice your breath. And begin to find some gentle movements, circles in wrists or ankles. Maybe turn your head side to side or take your arms past your ears. Turn over onto either side. And then make your way up to a comfortable seat with palms together at heart center. We honor our practice with a final slow breath in and out. Lift your thumbs to the center of your forehead. Thank you so much for being here and sharing your practice. Namaste.